It's my birthday today. I'm turning 22, and in the past, I've mentioned that this channel, this project, however you want to call it, is a watchable, tangible kind of document of me growing up. And in a way, I see it as an investment. These videos take time now, so I'm putting time in. But in the future, I'll be able to take a peek into my past life. And I think that that is a profitable return in the least economic or monetary sense of the word, I guess. In 2, 3, 5 years' time, I'll be able to see how I've changed and developed, and I happen to think that's a very valuable thing. Perhaps the videos that capture this development best are the ones I make at the beginning or end of every year, in which I talk about the road plans or my New Year's resolutions. And the last iteration of how I've done that has been by talking to you guys about how I write a plan and how in the past 2 years, at the end of every year, I sat down and I wrote a review of what had happened in the year and how I felt about it. And I wrote down very concrete, detailed objectives and like goals I wanted to reach in the coming year. And that cycle kind of went on of review and then thinking of new objectives, etc., etc. This year is a little different because all the plans up to now have been very concrete and very quantifiable. Like, for example, I would say I wanted to read and I would write a reading list with all the books I wanted to read. And that was in order for me to be able to track my progress very well. So they'd be very, very concrete. And that in the past has worked sometimes, but it's gonna change. As a matter of fact, it has changed, and this is what I want to talk about because I think I have a better idea, and here's why. The thing with these kinds of exercises is that at their core, they're an attempt to predict the future by deciding what the future is going to be. So you write a plan and you sketch out everything that's going to happen and you decide what you're going to do. And because you're the one in control, you know what's going to happen. You're going to make it happen. In reality, it turns out life has a tendency to not give a shit about your plans. And I feel like that was the biggest fault with it. Life will throw you unexpected situations that you'll have to improvise around. And having a plan that, you know, in very big detail determines every little thing you're going to do makes no sense because it doesn't account for that flexibility you're going to need. And therefore, it's no surprise really that my 2018 plan, which was the most detailed and the most, I don't know, scientific of all, is the one that I've failed most at. Without a doubt, in regard to my 2018 plan, the year was a failure. I accomplished very little things that I set out to do in that plan at the beginning of last year. And that's not to say I've had a bad year. I actually think I've had a really good year, one of my best years, I think. So there's definitely a difference between what the plan says and the results of the plan and reality. So this year, I've kind of learned to let go a little. And I've learned that the thing to do is to have an idea of where you want to go, but also learn to improvise with grace in a way. There's still a part of me that wants to sit down and write down everything I want to do in a very detailed way, but I've now learned that that's very unrealistic. So this year, I have one resolution or one goal. I've decided to go a bit more abstract and not be so specific, and I'm going to make my 2019 about being a bit more focused. Lately, I've been feeling like I was spreading a little too thin, and I think it's time to focus on the things I really want to do, decide what those things are, and focus on them, and not waste time or energy on all these little side missions I keep giving myself. I won't be able to scientifically quantify whether I've made progress or not, and I will be the only one able to judge whether I've had a more focused year or not. But I have space for improvisation, and I'm not attempting the crazy task of predicting the future. As long as I don't forget what my goal is, I think everything else will fall into place. And that's not to say that I don't have goals or more like milestones I want to get to. I definitely have milestones I want to achieve, but they're not must happen goals or lists of what will happen in 3 months' time. It's more of a, I kind of want to get there. It'd be cool if I could. It's a bit more positive, I feel. And in the regards to the goal itself, I feel like I'm already doing pretty well. I feel like distractions are a big part of me not being focused. So already you can kind of see I've gotten rid of a lot of my physical stuff. I talked to you from a room that is a lot more bare. And I've done that because I hope that getting rid of distractions will allow me to focus more physical distractions, and I hope getting rid of them physically will translate to having a less cluttered mind as well as a less cluttered living space and physical space around me. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I always do one of these at the beginning of the year, and I always ask you, leave in the comments what your New Year's resolution is or what you're planning to do. And with that, I will see you next time. Okay?